With no signs of an end to the crisis in Ukraine, the future is both uncertain and frightening. Ivan Eland is the director of the Center on Peace and Liberty at the Independent Institute. Before that, he worked for Congress for 15 years on national security issues. He joins us today with some insight on the situation in Ukraine. So, Ivan, Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko has vowed to punish the perpetrators, the people behind the downing of this plane. What does that mean exactly? Another major military offensive?
Well, I think it'll probably be a symbolic, response. It would be difficult probably to get the people that actually did it, although sometimes you can. But there'll be tit for tat. It's sort of a low-grade war going on. Tanks coming across in threes and planes being shot down. This is a pretty large plane, and it had a lot of people in it.
When Poroshenko was elected to office, in fact, when he was inaugurated, there were high hopes this crisis would come to an end rather quickly. There were negotiations going on, and there were hopes that there would be a ceasefire. Now, this incident has happened, and you mentioned tit for tat, so are we farther away from peace now?
Well, I think so, a little bit. These things happen. You don't want to minimize the tragedy, but if they really want to find a solution, there'll be a tit for tat, and then they'll negotiate. But so far, there's kind of a standoff. There's a standoff over the natural gas problem, which is hopefully being worked on this weekend. And, there's a standoff on all these other areas. And I think the Ukrainians have a foothold now in the region with the capture of the city. And so they moved the capital to Mariupol. And so that's sort of an incremental. But it goes back and forth,
So all this back and forth, how much of a setback is that for sitting down and negotiating some kind of truce?
Well, this is a little bit like the Middle East in that you can see what the outcome would be, but it's difficult to get there with all the passions going on. The heat of the moment. You can see where eventually Eastern Ukraine will get more autonomy, but stay within the Ukraine. That seems to be what will happen. But of course, getting to that solution is fraught with all sorts of difficulties. And you have the potential of, if there are a lot of Russian-speaking people get killed, that the Russians could feel that they need to intervene militarily. And of course, that would blow up the whole thing.
Can there be a political settlement in this crisis if the rebels, the separatists, whatever you want to call them, if they don't put down their arms?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they would put down their arms in exchange for autonomy. I mean, if they continue to fight, then you're going to have a situation where eventually the Ukrainian army is going to have to remove these people, because this is part of Ukraine. Nation states don't like part of their territory being held by separatists. But, if they do that, then of course we could have that situation where a lot of Russian speakers get killed, and then Russia feels that it has to. It doesn't seem to be provoking it to the extent of wanting to do that at this time, but it's more likely, I think, to happen by just a case of where people get killed and then it just blows up,
So what needs to happen at this point? What is the responsibility of the international community? How can we put an end to all this madness?
Well, I think, it's helpful that they're working out the gas problem, because if they can get the economics of that done, both sides are leveraging, trying to use the political situation. And that, if they could get that solved, that would be one step towards a political settlement.
A very important first step, perhaps.
Yes, because economics are always, one issue in political. It's not the total thing, because you have a lot of nationalism and that sort of thing. And Russian speakers do feel like they're disenfranchised in the Ukraine, et cetera. So there are legitimate. I think you have to, in the end, you have to always address people's legitimate concerns to stop the cause of the fighting. Otherwise, you'll have the.
It'll go on forever.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Ivan Eland. We appreciate your perspective.
Thank you.